Alright, greetings Kiss Nation. This is going to be a Kiss topic, and this is going to be in part 2 of the Kiss topic I recently had a few days ago, about where Gene Simmons basically kind of spoke ill of Ace Frehley. Um, and this is going to be Gene Simmons humbly apologizes for controversial comments about Ace. And, well, I'm actually kind of surprised that he did this, even though I can't really be that shocked, because the backlash, including from me, I was super pissed off about the comments that Gene made, even though they were typical Gene Simmons comments about Ace. But still, you don't make comments about that after a founding member of Kiss is dead. That's kind of, like I said, a bad timing, and I I have really no I don't really quite understand why Gene chose to do that, considering the route he took in the first place when Ace passed. He chose the proper route. Then in the other last ditch effort, he kind of went and chose the typical Gene Simmons approach, which, be that as it may, not a good look. Not a good look. But he has apologized, so let's get into it. Gene Simmons has apologized for suggesting that bad decisions played a role in Ace Frehley's death. Frehley, Kiss's founding lead guitarist, died in October after a September fall at his home studio. An autopsy declared the cause of his death to be accidental blunt force trauma, despite the fact that Frehley had repeatedly and proudly declared battling his addiction issues and staying sober for the last 2 decades had helped him maintain an active touring and recording career. In a recent interview, Simmons questioned the autopsy results. Yeah. Ace refused advice from people that cared about him, including yours truly, to try to change his lifestyle. Simmons declared, "In and out of bad decisions, falling down the stairs. I'm not a doctor. Doesn't kill you. There may have been other issues, and it breaks my heart." Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah. However, as he did after criticizing the nature of Prince's death in 2016, declaring how pathetic that he killed himself, Simmons has now apologized for his comments about Frehley. Right. On reflection, I was wrong for using the words I used. I humbly apologize, Simmons wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. My hand to God, I didn't intend to hurt Ace or his legacy, but upon rereading my words, I see how it hurts everyone. Again, I apologized. I've always loved Ace. Always. And we got a cool picture of them from the Dynasty Tour. Got Peter Criss in the background on drums, Gene and Ace together on stage. That's a cool picture to use. I like that. After being reprimanded by his family and bandmate Paul Stanley for his 2016 Prince comments, Simmons offered the following explanation for his behavior. I apologize. I have a long history of getting very angry at what drugs do to the families, friends of the addicts. Alright. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Peter Criss received the honors, the Kennedy Center honors, Saturday, December 6th at the White House, and then were honored at a tribute show Sunday night. That's cool. Alright, that's cool. Alright. This is all the pictures of Kiss at the Kennedy Centers, which, it's cool that the original lineup did get this honor. I'm not going into more details other than that. I think that's the end of the article. I'm not really seeing anything other than just these pictures. Yeah, that's the end of the article. But anyways, my thoughts on Gene's apology. Um, I thought it was a good apology. I'll admit I did get very harsh with Gene in my last video, but I'll admit that Gene made a good apology. He knew he was in the wrong, even though it was like pretty much after the fact, but he knew he was in the wrong and just manned up and apologized for it, you know? And it's good. I like it when people do that, you know? I've been known to do that on this channel a few times, and in my previous channels, I've come on here and say, hey, you know, I fucked up. It wasn't my intention to come across this way, but it's happened, and I do apologize. But um, but for Gene, good on him. Like, this is something I can respect him for. I didn't respect him for what he said about the ace previously, but I can respect him for, admitting him being wrong and, just apologizing for it. That's cool. I give him props for doing that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this topic. Hope you guys enjoyed this topic. Let me know what you guys think about this matter, about Gene Simmons apologizing for, to us, the fans, about, not trying to hurt Ace or his legacy, which, what do you guys feel about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.